Chromaphone's presets sound great, and with a few simple tweaks, we have a huge range of variations that are possible. Now here I've got the keys bank called up, and I have a preset here, and I'm going to play you this, and as I'm playing it, I'm going to change the first resonator type and turn it on, and then we'll play with the coupling and the mix level, and I'll also increase the noise level in terms of what's triggering these resonators, and you'll hear a completely different variation of the sound compared to the original. Let's go to another preset in the same bank with the same part. Here, I'm going to switch the first resonator to an open tube and play with the radius and decay controls to alter the sound. Here I've got some sustained chords being played back through one of the strings and pads sounds, and it's being triggered only by the noise source. I'm going to play this, and I'm going to use the dedicated noise envelope to modulate the frequency and then adjust the density a little bit to vary the sound. Let's go to another variation. Here's another preset, and on this one, I'm going to use the LFO modulation to vary the frequency of the noise source that's triggering these two resonators. So that adds an interesting rhythmic element to the pulsating chords. Here's a percussive synth sound. I'm going to play it for you and then modulate the stiffness of the mallet with key tracking. So the key range is going to determine the value of this parameter, and I'll adjust the color as well and the radius to alter the tone. Let's try another preset, and with this one, I'm going to again use the key tracking, and this time I'm going to modulate the level of the noise over here, and I'll adjust the decays as well with key tracking. Here are some sustained chords played with an organ and pipe sound, and I'm going to use the arpeggiator to break it up and create a rhythmic part with some odd number of steps that incorporate some rests in the pattern. Here are those same chords played with another sound, and in this case, it's a sustained sound, and I'm going to use some LFO modulation on the noise source and density to create some rhythmic movement to the sustained chords. here, the use of the delay allows the beginning of the chord to remain sustained before the rhythm kicks in. Chromaphone 2 has some lovely sounding soundscape type pads. I'm going to play you some sustained chords with a couple of presets just to give you a taste of what they're like. And here's another one. The effects section has some lovely percussive type sounds. Here's a steady eighth note kind of part over a wide range of notes. And I'm going to use key tracking on the noise here and adjust the material in order to bring out the high end of the notes and the higher end of the range of the part. So the lower notes stay nice and full while the upper range notes are brighter. Let's go to another preset. And here I'm going to use the key tracking on the decays over here. And I'm also going to play with the material in order to get more of a staccato sound, but while also keeping part of the tone sustained. So there we get a nice mix of staccato and legato. The arpeggiator is really elegant and fun to use, and there's an entire bank of sounds that are already set up with some nice patterns. Here's one, and I'm going to leave the arpeggiator as is and simply couple the two resonators so that they're interacting with each other and adjust the balance slider, and that'll completely change the tonal characteristics of the sounds that are generated from the arpeggiated parts. Here's another example from the arpeggiator bank of a nice kind of chordal sound. And in this case, I'm going to go to the effects page and simply replace this phaser for a wah and affect the tone that way. Finally, there's a really nice bank of affected arpeggiated percussion sounds. I'm going to play this, and I'm going to go into the effects, ease off on the delay a little bit, and I'm going to really overdrive this distortion, but just blend it in a little bit to really get an overdriven effect. Let's go to another one of these, and in this one, I'm going to leave the effects as is, and I'm simply going to adjust the properties of the mallet, the noise and the color, to affect the tone of the sounds that are generated with this preset. So that's a little taste of some of the presets that ship with Chromaphone 2 and some simple and fun ways of modifying them.